Hey, I'm Helen with Floating Yoga School. This is a mini flow designed to help you de-stress, let go of whatever happened today, come back to a sense of home, to yourself, and prepare for a lovely rest of the day. We'll get started in a seated position whenever you're ready. So you can find and face any direction and take any kind of seat. That might be sitting on your shins as I am, sitting on your bum, turning whichever way. Sun is quite bright today, so I'm going to close my eyes. If you like to keep yours open, give yourself a soft gaze. Look down at something or focus on something that feels a little bit calming and grounding. Feeling. This is a great chance to reflect on your day, what happened, what didn't happen, what expectations you had, what you might have done differently. Learn from our mistakes, grow from our experiences. And so give yourself permission to find a sense of peace and contentment right here. Begin to deepen your breath. And breathe in and out through your nose. Really turn on that strong, full Ujjayi breath. As I go to that breath, I find myself dropping in, calming down, really connecting to myself. There might be a sound to your breath. There might be a slight constriction at the back of your throat. Eyes can stay closed, you can blink them open. Keep your breath, take some shoulder shrugs up, back, and down. I like to bring my arms with me, really exaggerate this. For me, it's real crunchy, especially at the end of a day. And then bring your hands behind you, interlace your fingers. If they don't reach, that's okay, just simply reach in that direction. Open up your chest, lift your chin, breathe in. As you exhale, bring your hands over to your left hip, and then hug your left elbow back and drop your left ear to your shoulder. If your hands don't reach, you can let your left arm be long, right hand find your left elbow crease. Try to press down through your right shoulder and breathe some space there through the side of your neck into your trapezius. You can stay, or if you like a little chin movement, I like to drop mine toward my sternum to center and then take it back to the side. Be slow and gentle with yourself. There's no need to punish. There's no pain, no gain in this practice. This is about moving slowly, mindfully, and finding a little grace. Come back to center, hands behind you, chin and head neutral, breathe in, and then take it to the other side, over to your right. Hug your right elbow back, drop your right ear to your right shoulder. Breathe here. Notice how this feels. If you added movement on the other side, you might drop chin towards sternum and then back to the side. As you're ready, back to neutral, release your grip. Take another shrug of your shoulders, up, back, and down. And then make your way to a tabletop hands and knees position. Stack your shoulders over your wrists, your hips right above your knees. Sway your hips a little side to side. Come back to neutral. Find a puppy pose. Walk your hands forward, drop your chin, your chest, your forehead, whatever comfortably reaches toward your mat. Your hips stay high above your knees. Imagine breathing space between your shoulder blades, under your arms, and across your chest. Slowly begin to walk your hands back in. And take this to a downward facing dog. Tuck your toes, lift your hips, Make a nice upside down V shape. Feel free to move around here, a little pedal, a little sway. A lot of times in my body, I feel tension as that tightness, that stuck energy. And just by moving a little, I'm able to release physically, emotionally, and energetically. Allow for some stillness if you're moving. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Open your mouth, make some noise, let it go. Again, breathe in. Open mouth, exhale, release. Inhale, bend your knees, look forward to your hands. Exhale, little steps to the top of your space. Ragdoll forward fold, so feet quite wide, knees quite bent, so your belly comes to your thighs. Hold opposite elbow, relax your head and neck. And then sway. Imagine here, gravity doing the majority of the work. You're not forcing any kind of stretch. And with that gravity, all the stuff you're holding on to, things that happened, conversations that were had, little nagging to-do lists in the back of your brain, just drip down your body toward the earth. I kind of naturally found stillness. If you're still moving, you can find that too. Release your arms. Keep your feet wide. Soften your knees even more. Tailbone heavy, roll to standing, so your head is the very last thing to come up. At the top, again, that shrug, shoulders up, back, and down. This really does wonders for me. Hopefully for you too. Keep your feet wide. Inhale, arms to the sky. Exhale, palms together in front of your heart. Twice more. Inhale, reach it out and up. Exhale, hands to heart center. One more, breathe in. Breathe out. Shift your weight toward your left foot. Start to hug your right knee in toward your chest. Hands can come around your right shin, your knee. Notice if you're leaning way back, can you keep your weight centered on your left foot, so even between your toes and your heel? Maybe draw your leg a little closer. Shoulders stay out of your ears, chest stays nice and bright and open. One more breath. Hands to your hips. Extend your leg out in front. Does not have to be high. Breathe in. Cross your right ankle over your left. As you exhale, fold forward over your legs. Let your head and your neck go. And then crawl your hands over to your right. I like to bend my right knee, send your hips a little bit to your left. You might bend both knees. You might find that left is more natural. One more breath. Bring your hands back through center. Take it to the other side. Just a little stretch in the opposite direction. And then back to center. Weight into your right foot. You might have to readjust your feet to the center of your mat. Lean forward. My hands come a little forward. Lift your left leg to the sky. Big breath in. Exhale, step your left foot to the back of your mat and lower your left knee down. Think about your left knee a little further behind your left hip. So maybe if you're used to supporting your hip right below, think of leaning it back, and then bring your hands to your right thigh. I'm going to take a little bit of lean out of it, scoot my tailbone under, really engage core, and then start to lean back in. Hands can stay on your thigh. You're welcome to bring them to the sky if you prefer. Notice what's happening with your shoulders, your jaw, your face. And just breathe into your left hip flexors, your left core, your left quad. Especially if you sat a lot today or feel stressed there in your hip flexors, this can be a nice place to release that. One more breath. We're moving slow on purpose. It may feel like you're itching to move. Release your hands down. Lift your back foot off the ground. So you're in like a plank prep, and step your right foot back to meet your left. See if you can hover your right toes for a moment. Find a little bit of heat. And then lower your right foot down. Shift forward, breathe in. Take it all the way down to your belly as you exhale. Baby cobra, lift your heart. Shoulders down your back. Exhale, release. Child's pose, hips to heels. Knees can be wide or together. Relax your forehead down. 3 good breaths. Hands and knees, breathe in. Take your exhale to adjust. Align however you like. Inhale, cow pose, tailbone lifts, belly drops, heart forward. Exhale, cat, scoop round, press the ground away. 2 more times like that. Come back to neutral, breathe in. And again, revisit that puppy pose as you breathe out. Hands a little forward, chin, chest, maybe forehead down toward your mat. Hips stay high. And if this doesn't work for you, no worries. Press it back to a child's pose, stay in a tabletop. Really let your intuition, your inner knowing guide you versus what I'm saying or suggesting. Lock your hands back in, downward facing dog. Remember to breathe. Nice deep inhale through your nose. Stick out your tongue, make some noise, let it go. Again, breathe in. Stick out your tongue, lion's breath out. Inhale, look to your hands. Exhale, make your way to a forward fold. Lift halfway, breathe in. Folds, breathe out. Rise, reach up, inhale. Exhale, hands to your heart. Shift your weight into your right foot and start to hug your left knee in toward your chest. Hands are on your shin, they can interlace. Again, pay attention to where your body weight wants to go. Can you reach up through the crown of your head? Find a little bit more length through your spine. One more breath. Hands to your hips, extend your leg out in front, breathe in. Cross your left foot over your right, exhale, fold forward over your legs. Hands relax, head and neck relax. Walk your hands to your left, bend your left knee or both knees, let your hips lean a little right. Notice if you're gripping anywhere. I tend to kind of keep my head lifted. Can you keep it released, your neck long? And then to the other side. Hands to your right, hips a little left. Bring it back to center. Perhaps adjust your feet to recenter on your mat. Weight forward into your hands, into your left foot. Right leg reaches high, breathe in. Take a big step back with your right foot and lower your knee down. So again, notice your knee is a little bit more back than right below your hip. Of course, if something else feels better, go there, but maybe try this. Hands to your front thigh to lift. Take that little scoop under. So for me, it's coming out and then gently leaning forward with a little pelvic tilt. So I'm thinking my tailbone moving a little bit forward, kind of tilting under versus letting everything collapse. And that I really feel in my hip flexors. And even up into my abdomen, down into my quadriceps. Shoulders away from your ears. Couple more deep breaths. Slow and steady. Let's do one more. Bring your hands down, lift your back knee like you're setting up for plank, but try to hover your left foot behind you just for a moment. Feel the strength, and then lower your foot down. Shift forward, breathe in, all the way to your belly as you breathe out. Locust pose, hands either reach behind you, palms flat, or if you prefer, interlace your fingers, lift your hands, your chest, and if it's okay on your low back, lift your feet. Keep your neck nice and long. I always remind myself to gently tuck my chin. Crown of my head reaches forward. Deep inhale. Exhale, lower down, head to one side, hands by your sides, and shimmy your hips a little side to side, or even windshield wiper your feet by bending your knees. Head to the opposite direction. Couple more breaths. And then press it up to a tabletop. So we'll take a little thread the needle with a leg extended off to the side. I'm going to start right leg out. Bring it about in line with your left knee. Toes point forward, so your foot is extended. If regular thread the needle is better for you, of course, stay there. Otherwise, left arm high, and then thread through. You might even try to reach your ankle with your left hand, and take your right arm forward. Use each breath to find space. Physically, energetically. And gently unwind. Counter stretch out and up. Really sit down and swap out your sides. Left leg extends off to the side. Right arm high, breathe in. Thread through. You might notice one side feels really different for me than the other. That might be true for you too. One more breath. Unwind, left hand down, right arm out and up, breathe in. And really sit down. Replace your knee. Shimmy a little side to side, cow and cat. Maybe a wrist stretch is calling your name. We'll take this to a pigeon pose. Many of us hold all that tension in our hips, low back. If you know you have knee stuff, you might prefer to take this on your back. If you're moving to pigeon, start in a downward facing dog. Reach your right leg high, breathe in, and draw your shin forward. Right knee behind right wrist, your foot wherever it lands. For me, it's much closer to my left hip than it is to my left wrist, and that is okay. Just what my body wants to do anatomically. Take a moment to lift, and then if you like, a moment to bow. Forearms down, head down. Notice again your shoulders, your jaw, your face. Notice where your body wants to contract and hold. And can you allow for that softening, that release? A lot of times when we feel stress, our body wants to respond, which is normal. And from an evolutionary perspective, very useful. But when it means we're holding on to the stuff that happened at work, in conversations with our loved ones, stress from our kids, we don't always let it go or release it. So unless you're able to run, unless you're able to find those ways to physically release, you might find that it stays somewhere in your body. One more breath here. Walk your hands in, lift your chest, bring your weight to your right hand, your right hip, and swing your left leg around. If you're on your back in like a figure four, you can stay there and stay in a figure four or meet us in a seat. We're gonna take a double pigeon, stacking ankle over knee, knee over ankle. I have a ton of space here, lots of tightness in my hips, and that is okay. If the same is true for you, you can always extend your bottom leg straight. Find some lift, and then whatever amount of lean you can take. It's not a lot that I need to go personally. If you feel anything in your knees, please back off. It might be helpful to flex your toes, your feet back a little. One more breath here. Lift yourself up. Place your feet on your mat, knees to the sky, windshield wiper to release all that. And we'll take the same thing to the other side, starting with pigeon. Little transition, cross your ankles, roll over your knees, make your way back to downward facing dog. Left leg high, breathe in. Draw your shin forward, set yourself up. Figure 4 on your back. A seated figure 4 is a nice alternative if this doesn't work. Create length, breathe in. Use your exhale to melt into it as much or as little as you would like. And I think, at least personally, a lot of stress comes from the comparison or the idea that I need to match up to somebody else's standards. So please know my body is different than yours. Any idea of what this should look like can be abandoned. You can really just be in your own experience. Pay attention to what comes up and where your mind goes as you're in these holds. And just like your breath, those thoughts will come and will go. Try not to attach to stories or get carried away. One more breath. Walk your hands in. Lift your chest, weight to your left hand, left hip, swing your right leg around, and set up for that double pigeon. So ankle over knee, knee over ankle. This is a little bit more parallel to the top of your mat. Find some space. Feel free to extend your bottom leg if you preferred that, and then a little lean forward. And I think I have to do even less here on this side to feel something. More is not always more, especially in our yoga practice. So give yourself permission to be here, to back off, and that feels like the right choice for you. One more breath. If you want more time, always take it. Otherwise, feet to your mat, knees to the sky, windshield wiper, release that out. Both legs in front. Scoot your bum back a little bit. Find some space through your spine, breathe in. And then fold over your legs. And I'm going to start with a flat back and just see how that feels in my body. I usually, want to end up rounding. If that feels better, go there. So many different ways to practice, but the most important part is the awareness and the connection to your breath. So we're not really flowing, you're still consciously breathing, consciously moving. One more breath. Walk yourself back up. Bend your knees, place your feet on your mat. You might scoot yourself a little bit forward depending on your length and the length of your mat. Reach your arms forward and slowly roll down. Feet to the ground, hands by your sides to set up for bridge. So ideally ankles are below your knees. You might have to adjust depending on the length of your body. Press into your feet, lift your hips. Imagine reaching your tailbone even further away from the crown of your head. Find some space there through your spine. Decompress. One more full breath in. Exhale, lower it down. Knees into your chest, release your low back. And we'll take this into a twist. Let both knees fall to one side. Arms in a cactus or wide. Head can go in the opposite direction of your legs if your body allows for that. And then back through center. Any kind of pose you like in between. Maybe it's a simple hug in. And find that on the opposite side. Happy baby. Knees toward armpits, hands wherever they comfortably reach. That might be behind your knees, to your calves, to your feet. Lengthen your tailbone down. And slowly let everything go for your final rest. A more traditional asana with legs and arms extended. Perhaps you flip to your belly or you find a fetal position if that feels more supportive. Try to snuggle your shoulders away from your ears, down your back. And let go of any last control of your breath. Allow the ground below you to absorb all the stuff you're still holding on to. Allow thoughts to flow in and flow out of your awareness, just like clouds drifting across the sky. And if you'd like a little bit more time here, please, of course, stay. If you feel ready to move on with your day, start with little movements, wiggles or stretches. Let them get a little bit bigger. And make your way up to a comfortable seat. Take a moment to pause, to notice again what's happening inside, outside, around you. And place your palms together in front of your heart. We'll bow our heads in silence to honor those who have come before us, this beautiful practice they've shared with us, and to extend this to others who come after us in gratitude. Thank you so much for your support. I'd love to get any requests for videos, themes, things you're looking for. Email me at helen@floatingyogaschool.com.